But people will often say, you're not as unique as you think.
Look at children. Do you ever question if a child's voice is unique? They don't. They're unabashedly themselves. Now you've got awkwardness and you've got a lot of self-imposed restrictions.
Instead of saying how to do, say how I did. Because you're speaking of a truth or a perspective that is literally coming from you and no one else can live it. Okay, so I have to stop you right there, Frank, because there's so many people that are just determined in life to stifle snowflakes. I mean, we were talking about unique voices, right? And you talked about earlier that unique voice, that snowflake feeling, you gotta hug it, you gotta hug it. But people will often say, you're not as unique as you think. And the reason, or one of the reasons why I think that's the case, is because that person has not found their unique voice.
Look at children. Do you ever question if a child's voice is unique? They don't. They're unabashedly themselves. Yet, through different circumstances, we grow up, we learn about society, compare that same child as a teenager, and now you've got awkwardness, and you've got a lot of self-imposed restrictions if they weren't in an environment that encouraged that. And that's the vast majority of the people you see.
Yeah.
At a certain point, we're broken, and not always for the best. And so then we get to the point where we have the ability to distinguish, and then we realize it's up to me to decide, do I choose to explore that voice that I know was with me and that I had as a child? Or do I fit in? Do I normalize myself? Which means you don't speak up, you follow the line, and you do what everyone else is doing. There's a balance, of course, right? And the balance is understanding that you have responsibility for what you say. Now, oftentimes what you notice in phenomenal speakers is that they're doing the work to develop that confidence.
Yeah.
And it comes off as comfort, as they're comfortable talking, they're willing to share, and unabashedly, they are themselves. Does that mean that they have the right to impose evil onto others? No, that's not the case. But sharing my perspective is always my perspective. And sharing what I see, what I observe, what I'm aware of, my thoughts, my reasonings, that takes off such a weight because I'm not thinking about if it's right or wrong. I'm thinking, am I communicating the point across?
Yeah. That if I were to kind of say where that speaks to me, it's something that Alex Hormozy said one time. Instead of saying how to do, say how I did. You know, how I overcame, how I was able to build. Because you're speaking of a truth or a perspective that is literally coming from you and no one else can live it. No one else can do it. Or say that you didn't do it. You're bulletproof, as he says. So you want to be a bulletproof snowflake then.
Yeah.
You want to be this snowflake that basically says like, you know, hey, that's your perspective that I'm not as unique as you think I am. So let me tell you what I do, or let me share with you what I've done.
Yeah. We see the challenge in public speaking, as in many other fields, because they overlap. We're talking about skills and communication at a large. We compare. We compare to others' experiences, others' lives, and expect that their experience, their journey, right, and how they found their voice should be the same one that we have. Just that word itself, I have a lot of challenges with should, because it's an implied judgment, right? There's an expectation there that's a requirement of it being met that in my world, my perspective, it doesn't. So they should happen, it's a judgment. All of this to say, we get to decide what our lives will be. Are we deciding to tap into our experience, our culture, our background? When you were sharing that point about how we can shift from sharing a how-to a how-I, we're tapping into the gold mine that is our experiences, our lived moments and unique perspectives that someone else could benefit from, given that they don't live in our heads, they don't understand, or they haven't gone through what we've gone through. So then it's up to us to communicate those experiences in a way that they provide value, that they add and help someone in their way. It's that advice from a loving friend, from a parent, a brother, sister, someone who can move you forward. That's the power of being unique. That special snowflake because it understands its composition is very different than that of all the other ones. But combined, they make a beautiful snow, and then we can build from it.